Hi, this is Ryan Newhouse, and welcome to the Last Best Beer Show. It's the final episode before Missoula Craft Beer Week. We've been busy. We're putting together a lot of events, so we've got a special show for you today. We've got a couple of cool guests that have very cool events going on. And, normally I start off the show and I talk a little bit about what's new and exciting in Missoula. Well, you guessed it, since we have Missoula Craft Beer Week on the docket, that's what we're going to talk about. So I hope you are as excited as I am for this. I've put a lot of work into it. This is our 5th year. It is something that I co-founded with my partner, Alan McCormick, who's an exceptional beer blogger who writes for growlerfills.beer. If you've not been to that website, I highly encourage you to check it out. But 5 years ago, Alan and I put together a whole list of events in honor of the 20th anniversary of the Garden City Brewfest. And since then, this week has evolved and gotten better, in my opinion, each and every year. It was inspired by American Craft Beer Week, which still occurs. It's a little bit later in May. But we've always wanted to dovetail into the Garden City Brewfest, which this year is May 7th, which is always whenever the first Saturday in May, that's the Brewfest. Let me run down. I want you to know that you can find all of these events and plan your week out at Missoulabeerweek.com. Again, that's Missoulabeerweek.com. We've got an incredible number of events. We usually have upwards of 30 events throughout the week, but there's some that I definitely want you to pay attention to. If you want to come down and hang out with me personally, Tuesday, May 3rd, I'm going to be at the Beer Geek Cage Match Trivia Night. I'm going to be emceeing that event. So if you are sharp-witted and smart and know all things beer, come down with a team of a maximum of 4 people to the Dram Shop. It's going to get kicked off at 7 o'clock. You can sign up in advance. So that's always going to be a fun one as well. We've got some yoga. If you're into yoga at the Highlander Tap Room on Wednesday at 5:30. And they're going to put that outside, weather permitting. And you do a little yoga with Hot House Yoga, have a nice cold craft beer afterwards. And we've got a few events that are returning as well. And the Craft Beer Cup, which is a mini golf tournament, is essentially sold out, as it is every year. And we raise money for the Missoula Food Bank. So I definitely want you to get over and to MissoulaBeerWeek.com. Check out our full list of events. We're going to have it on our Facebook page as well. But right now, I want to bring in a couple of guests that we have that will talk in more detail about some of these fine events that we have this year. This week, I've got in the studio with me Derek Hockenbrow with Missoula Brewing Company, Highlander Beer. Derek, welcome to the Last Best Beer Show.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Happy to be here.
Man, I'm excited to have you here because we got a lot going on next week for Missoula Craft Beer Week. So thank you so much for coming on board and sponsoring that and having some cool stuff to offer.
Definitely our pleasure. It's our first Missoula Beer Week.
Yes.
Since we just opened in last July. So we were ready to take the bull by the horns and be as involved as we possibly could be.
I tell you, last year when we did this Missoula Beer Week, which is always end of April, early May, that was like the number one question. People, they knew you were coming. They knew you were trying to get open. They're like, oh, are you going to have that beer? They were like, almost like we'd give them some kind of preview. Like, when are we going to get our Missoula Brewing Company up? So yes, welcome to this year's episode. But before we get into exactly what we're going to be doing next week, why don't you just let us know a little bit how things are going here since you've been open in July, some of the beers that are out on the shelves and on tap, and what you guys are doing out at the brewery.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it was a rather big project. If anyone out there has been to our facility, it's was built from the ground up, and it's new stuff going on in there. Yeah, very big project. Definitely took a while. So I'm sure there was a lot of interest for when the doors were going to open. But, since we did open the doors in July, we've just taken off. Been doing really well, especially now that it's getting to good weather again. Yep. We've just been seeing that our patio is flooded basically every weekend. I just joined the company in October. Okay. So since I've joined, we've done quite a bit, including releasing our first packaged beer in 6-packs.
Yep, 6-pack bottles. I've been seeing them. Yeah.
Yep, and that was a huge move for us. And really, we got to thank you, Missoula. You've been huge for us. really taken to us very quickly, and you've kept it moving on the shelves, which allows us to keep making some great beer and playing around.
Awesome. Well, good job, Missoula. That's out to you guys. Let's talk about what's your location? Where are you at so people can come find you?
Yeah, so we are on 200 International Drive,
Okay.
which is on North Reserve. If anyone is familiar with Carl Tyler, the Chevy dealership up there, we are right behind it.
Okay.
Right over by UPS, so kind of sandwiched between those two, right along Grant Creek, which, as I mentioned the patio earlier, now would be a good time to come because the creek is just gushing.
Oh yes,
And
it was. I was there last Friday, and gosh, it was already moving. But I can imagine even more so now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have some nice wood chairs right by the creek, so you can sip on a beer and take in some sun and listen to that water flow.
What I like too about your location is you are just far enough off of Reserve. I mean, it's kind of quiet and serene, and you don't see a lot of traffic, and you've got an incredible outdoor space, and it's really a fun place to be.
Yeah, thanks. We're very happy to be in that particular location, for sure.
Well, you have beer, and we'll talk more about that in just a second. But maybe you're hungry, right? And so you guys got a nice little spread out there as well.
Yeah, we decided to go full force into a pizza kitchen. So everything is handmade on the spot. We're very lucky to have some truly talented pizza masters out there.
Nice.
So every day the menu changes. We always have, for those that like to keep things a little simple, we always have a cheese pizza and a pepperoni pizza available.
Excellent.
But there's 2 to 3 others depending on the day. And the pizza chefs, they get a little crazy. They did an Oktoberfest pizza.
Whoa.
That was honestly one of the best pizzas I've ever had. And it was so weird, but beautifully so.
Wow.
Basically, stone ground mustard sauce, mozzarella, sauerkraut, and bratwurst.
Wow.
And it was perfect. Yeah, it was delicious.
Well, maybe you guys should bring it back. We just had the 500th anniversary of the Reinheitsgebot, which is German purity law. So that'd be a good reason, right, to bring back an Oktoberfest pizza?
I ask all the time.
Oh, good. Well, the beers. I mean, you have a lot of beer on tap, a lot of cool styles, and I heard that you just brought back I don't know, is it correct to call a tribute to Highlander or more of the original recipe? Why don't you talk about that one? Yeah,
so our newest beer that we have brought out on tap, we are calling the Original Highlander Pilsner.
Okay.
For those of you that might not know, Highlander is actually a very old brand from 1910 into the late mid-60s. It was one of, if not the Montana beer. One cool thing about working for Highlander is getting to hear all these crazy stories of people that remember when they were 10 years old and Highlander was everywhere, and really funny stories. So we wanted to, and we've been asked from the beginning when we were going to do something like the original Highlander.
Yep.
And so we thought it was time. And our owner, Bob Lukes, spent a very long time in the UM library, just going through old notes, old documents, and from different kind of remnants he found in those documents, he put together what he thought was pretty much the original Highlander recipe.
Very cool.
And so we wanted to kind of take that to the modern age, modern brewing techniques, and no adjuncts. Just, it's about as simple as a craft beer can get, and it is flavorful and so drinkable.
I've actually been hearing that from a lot of people. They're asking me, have you had it? And but yeah, it's being very well received, at least from this end. Well, speaking of other new beer and jumping into what we're going to be doing in Missoula Craft Beer Week, I know there's a new beer that's going to be coming on tap on Saturday, April 30th. Very first day of Missoula Craft Beer Week. And why don't you talk about what we're going to be doing then?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are fortunate enough to kind of kick off Missoula Beer Week. We are going to be opening at 10 a.m. on Saturday, April 30th. It's the first time we've ever opened our doors that early.
Don't party Friday night. Then, right? You got to get up early.
Exactly. And so we'll be doing a Highlander brunch, which, again, we get to let our pizza masters go nuts. They're going to be making some breakfast pizzas, one of which I know is going to have a sausage gravy sauce.
Oh my God.
I know.
Whoa.
I know. And then we're going to be releasing our very first double IPA. And this is, let me tell you, this is going to be a hot monster.
Hot monster. I love it.
It is 10% ABV.
Wow.
So it is up there.
Yep.
And 100 IBUs.
Whoa.
And we've been which for those of you that know IBUs, it's going to be pretty hoppy.
There's already a lot of ones and zeros in all of this. I'm hearing this theme here.
Exactly. And we've been testing that beer as it's come along, and it is just bursting with hops.
I couldn't think of anything else I'd want with breakfast or brunch, really.
Right?
Yeah, with some pizza. Awesome. Way cool. And then you guys are also participating in our Brews Cruise that's happening later in that day. You're going to be up at the Rhino for there, getting your beer poured through the Rhino.
Yep. Shout out to the Rhino.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us. And we will also have the double IPA there.
Awesome.
So you can go find it there.
Yep. Or if they don't get enough at the Missoula Brewing, then they can hop over on their bikes and then get some there.
Yep.
Way cool. And then let's see, what else we got? I think on Wednesday, May 4th, about 5:30, people can kind of get loose and limber out in your yard, right?
Yeah. Strap on your yoga pants.
Yes.
We're going to be kind of opening up our lawn, and setting up out there. Hot House Yoga has agreed to come on and teach a free class for anyone that wants to come, just solely donation based. So if you want to pitch a few bucks to the teachers, that's awesome. And then anyone that participates in the yoga will get $1 off their first beer.
Awesome. Way cool.
Yeah.
Love Hot House and Jennifer doing that, and you guys opening up that beautiful space out there. And then the next day, I think you guys are going to participate with us at mini golf. You're going to have some cool location downtown so people can find more of your good beer. That's always been the Craft Beer Cup is a signature event, and it raises a lot of money for the food bank. And then I imagine Garden City Brew Fest too? Yeah,
Garden City. We're bringing a couple special beers. It is a huge brew fest here in Missoula, so definitely come down. I set aside a keg of what is probably my favorite beer we've made so far.
Oh man.
This is the Fortress Rock Imperial Chocolate Oatmeal Stout.
Whoa.
And it is glorious. It is chocolatey, it's a little roasty, and the oats give this nice velvet mouthfeel. So definitely come on down for that one, because it's the only one left.
Oh, I can't wait. Nobody beat me in line. I'm first in line for that. Cool. Derek, thank you so much for coming down and chatting all good things Highlander beer, and look forward to a super fun and festive week with you.
My pleasure, Ryan. Thanks, man.
Love craft beer and want to learn how to brew your own? Take this online course to get insider tips from Montana brewers and top secret recipes for local favorites.
Welcome back to the Last Best Beer Show. I hope you've enjoyed hearing a word from our sponsors who certainly make this show possible. But, I'm going to jump right into a pretty cool event that we have going on during Missoula Craft Beer Week. And I'm here with my good friend, Rad Eisnagel. Rad, welcome back to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, man, you put together something pretty darn cool. And why don't you jump into it?
Well, I was deciding what we could do as kind of a different dinner, a different event for Missoula. And so came up with the concept of dinner in the round.
Okay.
So it's a limited seating for a 4-course meal with 3 performances in between each course, and you're seated around the performance.
That's way cool. Way cool. So that's happening on Thursday, May 5th?
On the 5th.
All right. Little Cinco de Mayo. And where's that happening?
We're actually using the Galaxy Lounge, which is the 3rd floor of the Flathead Lake Brewing Company in downtown Missoula.
Awesome. And I think doors open, if I read right, about 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock, we open up for appetizers.
Good. And tickets you need to buy in advance and quickly as possible.
As quickly as possible. We just announced this yesterday.
Yeah.
And we've already sold 6. So
wow.
there's only 32 spots.
Okay. 1 of 32. You want to give us a little teaser of what we might eat and drink there that day?
Oh, sure. I'll grab my handy phone here so I don't get this right.
Yeah.
So we have 4 courses. The first course is the appetizer course. And we have 3 items on the appetizer course. But my favorite is a caramelized onion and brie dip. And the onions are caramelized in porter.
Oh.
So with each food item for this dinner,
Okay.
it has beer as an ingredient as well as a beer for a pairing
Okay.
with it. The second course, we're doing a salad, but we're doing a grilled and chicharrones salad with a summer ale vinaigrette. And then the main course is stout braised short ribs. And then dessert, this is a little shout out to Vita, but for dessert, we're doing sheer barenge, which is a Persian rice pudding that has rose water. We're putting a twist on it, though. We're using rose water and a Belgian quad. And for performances,
Yeah.
I'm doling these out, but the big one is for music, we're going to have John Flores play
Very
a set
cool.
in between the main course and dessert.
Wow. That's cool. I like John quite a bit.
Yeah.
Very good musician. This is a way cool concept for beer dinner. And I've been to beer dinners and I like them all. I was just at the Top Hat last weekend and really enjoyed that. And it is good beer and it's good food, but it's good company. And then you're adding these extra elements of performances and the way that you're setting up. I mean, what is the appeal? Like, where did this nugget of idea come from?
So it actually came that I was watching 30 for 30 on ESPN.
Okay.
And there's Jim Balvano, who is coach of North Carolina State. He had terminal cancer and he spoke at the ESPY Awards before he passed away. And he has a quote, "A day where you laugh, think, and cry is a heck of a day."
Oh, wow.
And so that was the idea of this dinner is why can't we have a dinner where we make people laugh, think, and cry all in one meal?
Yeah. Beautiful.
So they have a heck of a meal.
They do. They do. And I love that beer is in it. I mean, and we talk about beer and food and talk about it on the show a lot and get out there. And I mean, obviously, a lot of people are eating and drinking at the same time. It's a natural pairing. But I like that you can elevate it, change it a little bit, put it in a slightly different setting for an event like this. That space up there, the Galaxy Lounge, I mean, that's a pretty cool place.
It is an awesome space. The first time I walked into it, I wondered why it was so underutilized.
Yeah.
It's that neat of a space.
Yeah. They've done a lot of work. I've seen a few different things, but yeah, shout out to Flathead Lake Brewing Company in Missoula and Carla for helping us set that up and getting there as well. So tickets, where can people find tickets?
So tickets, you can either go to Facebook and look for Rad Cooking on Facebook, or you can go to Rad Cooking, RADD cooking.com/dinner.
Awesome. And why don't you talk about a little bit what you're doing with Rad Cooking and what are some of the projects you got going on?
Well, we're doing 3 episodes a week, and we cook different dish each of those 3 episodes, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And we use beer as an ingredient in the food. So we're trying to take beer from a libation and a refreshment to actually being an ingredient in food.
Awesome.
And so like this Thursday's recipe, we're doing what I call Turkish scorpion chicken kebabs.
Wow.
Which is my take on a Turkish chicken kebab, which is chicken marinated in yogurt. But I added Saison de Boeuf from Stone and Dogfish Head and Victory, the collaboration ale.
Yeah.
And then I also took a local Montana product, Arthur Wayne hot sauce, and I used his scorpion pineapple, a few drops of that in the marinade. So it has some heat. And then you take out all these chicken thighs out of the marinade after 8 hours. And what you do is you take 2 skewers and you skewer them together really tight so they're like a loaf.
Okay.
And then you put them on the grill. Now what happens is you get a good char on the outside, but the interior of the chicken isn't going to be dry. It's going to be totally tender and moist.
Beautiful.
And then you deconstruct it once you get it off the grill.
Wow.
So that was kind of a fun recipe. And we got a whole bunch. We're going to do donaires, and I know that no one in Missoula knows what a donaire is.
I'll be the first to say, what is that? I do not know.
Eastern Canadian amalgamation of a gyro. So they had immigrants from Turkey and Greece come into Eastern Canada, and they wanted to do gyros. Well, they found out right away that lamb meat was too expensive. So they substitute ground beef and started, literally it's like a spiced meatloaf that you cook beforehand. Then you take the slices and you fry the slices to crisp them up. But the sauce for a donaire has evaporated milk in it. So it's this sweet sauce that goes over top of this spicy beef that's in a pita. And then I'd taken another twist on it, and I'm doing a spicy lager drizzle on top, which is a reduction of peppers and lager.
Man. Sheesh. I mean, you got to get dinner guests all the time, right? Pounding at your door. Like, once they know.
There's a few.
Yeah, there's a few. Well, when and where can people tune in and connect with you?
Yeah, Rad Cooking on every social channel you can imagine. Our Thursday episode is sponsored by Missoula Fresh Market, which is shout out to those guys.
Yep.
But we have radcooking.com, Rad Cooking on YouTube, Rad Cooking on Facebook, and we release those recipes every afternoon on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Awesome.
And it's just like clockwork.
There you go. I like that. Well, we got to eat, right? We got to eat. We got to drink.
Got to eat well.
Yeah, awesome. Aside from your own event next week for Missoula Craft Beer Week, you're out there in the community. I see you, Vita, out. I don't know. Are there any? I'm maybe fishing for a compliment here, but what kind of events are you looking forward to for Missoula Craft Beer Week?
Well, I'm training for a run in a few weeks, so the beer mile has me very intrigued. And then I found out what the world record for the beer mile was, and I realized there's absolutely no way I'm ever coming close to that.
Which is 4 minutes and 47 seconds to run a mile and chug 4 12-ounce beers.
I can chug the 4 12-ounce beers in that time limit.
But it's that whole running a mile thing.
Yeah, and so, I don't know about participating in the human foosball, but I love watching the human foosball.
That's
one of my
cool.
faves.
And I'm excited. We got a really cool court being built this year. It's quote unquote professional. So it'll be pretty nice. We got a cool tournament for that set up. This is gonna be fun, but I'm really excited about your dinner.
Yeah.
Dinner in the Round, folks. It's gonna be Thursday, May 5th. It's gonna be in the Galaxy Lounge above Flathead Lake Brewing Company on North Higgins. Get to Rad Cooking, RADD cooking.com. Get tickets before they sell out.
They're going quick.
Rad, thanks so much for coming in the studio and chatting with us.
My total pleasure.
Awesome. Good deal. That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Last Best Beer Show. Again, one more reminder, MissoulaBeerWeek.com. You're going to find all the events for Missoula Craft Beer Week. But I have a save the date. I want to announce our next Business and Brews for May. Yes, we're going to be partnering with DraftWorks Brewery on Toole Avenue May 18th. And that's going to be a pretty darn fun event. We'll have live music. We're going to have some local artists speaking. And we're going to have a pretty cool project where you get to paint your own growler. And then when it dries, you can come back and fill it up with DraftWorks beer. So again, next Business and Brews, May 18th at DraftWorks. And stay tuned to the Last Best Beer Show. Until next week, Missoula, I say to you, cheers.
Love craft beer and want to learn how to brew your own? Take this online course to get insider tips from Montana brewers and top secret recipes for local favorites.